Welcome to another episode of Little Talks, your weekly dose of marketing news and insights from Littlefield Agency.
Shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's good to be back.
Yeah.
It's good to be
Thanks,
back.
Brenda.
Yeah, thank you, Brenda. It's good to be back on this short week.
Yeah, you just realized we're off Friday.
I just actually had this epiphany this morning. So we are, it's kind of an added perk to the agency. We are closed the Friday before Labor Day and the Friday before Memorial Day.
Yep.
And so
And of course,
I woke
Labor
up this
Day,
morning
Memorial
and
Day.
was like, gosh, this week is flying. And I'm like, oh my gosh, tomorrow is our last day of this week until we're back at it on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. But man, we have jam-packed this week.
Today is Wednesday, and I feel like I've already lived through 2 weeks this week.
It's a good way to put it.
It's a lot.
You had a really great meeting with Mike from Grasshopper. He was here all day yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Talking content. Yeah.
The amount of whiteboard content. Oh my goodness.
Then Monday we had Sean and Brad from Ditch Witch were here.
And then today, Sean from Ditch Witch is back this morning.
We should have put him up in a hotel or something.
I know. He told me, he's like, what are you charging for rent? I was like, $1 million. And then we have Sean Ferguson and Steve from Rib Crib this afternoon
yep.
for our media plan and analytics plan over the next 4 months.
Who's coming in tomorrow?
Is someone?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I was like, no, I don't think anybody is.
Someone.
I was like, holy cow. Anyway, it's been a client-filled week. It's been great.
Yeah.
On top of this, it's really nice to have Chelsea Clement behind us because we don't know how much more time do you have here? Is today your last day?
Yeah.
She's going on maternity leave.
Depending on how this podcast goes.
Here's the interesting thing. First off, she says her podcast is coming back. I'm calling BS.
Yeah, this came up
yesterday
with Mike, the unacceptable podcast she's been talking about for at least 2 years, maybe longer. I think maybe it's not happening now.
I don't think it is.
No.
Well, and here's the thing. She's been telling me for 2 weeks that she's done. And
like in general, or
no, just until she comes back from maternity leave, which her maternity leave isn't supposed to start for another month. So I don't know what we had a nice ice cream party to celebrate her yesterday.
Why did we do it yesterday if she's going to not leave for another month?
I literally thought I am happy to see her here this morning.
You never know.
I thought she was sailing off into the motherhood sunset.
Well, ice cream yesterday was the last thing I needed. We could have spread this out a little bit.
Can you walk us through what you ate yesterday?
No, we're not going to go through my diet.
Come on, we just had a whole conversation.
I had a terrible diet yesterday.
You started off well, and you
started with Edibland
and
it ended with a quarter pounder, and a lot of things in between.
Edibland offers a nice acai bowl, and he ended on the other end of the spectrum with McDonald's.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was good. I had a good time, though. That's what's important.
Anyway, we're soaking up this area because it is nice to have Chelsea here. She may be here tomorrow. She may not. We'll see.
Yes.
But it's been a great client week. I think everyone's ready for a 4-day weekend. And here's the thing. We come back from the 4-day weekend, but Roop does not come back to the office. He and Taylor Bartley jet set to Boston for the week.
Yeah.
And that is what we're going to talk about on the podcast today.
That is today's only topic. Topic number one and only.
Boom. Do your thing, Brandon.
He did with his finger like that.
Next week, a lot of marketers know this, is HubSpot's annual Inbound Marketing Conference.
In Boston, Massachusetts.
Boston.
Yeah.
As you drink your coffee.
That's
pretty good.
You know that's where Dunkin' Donuts is headquartered.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and
it's everywhere
which
there.
is Dunkin' now.
Dunkin'.
Yeah. So Roop went to this last year, solo.
Yeah.
Is kind of a trial run because we are a HubSpot certified partner for our B2B brands.
Yep.
You went out there with our Cam, which his name is Kyle. And you had a hell of a time last year. You learned a lot.
Yeah. So in my head, it's going to be the same this year. But according to Kyle, last year it was not sold out. It was their first time back in person
since COVID.
The pandemic. Yeah. And they had a hybrid offer there where you could watch it online. So I think a lot of folks took that option. And he told me yesterday or day before that it sold out this year, so it's going to be packed. And I can't imagine what that's going to be like.
Because it was busy.
It was very busy. Yeah,
lines out the door for certain speakers.
Sessions. They probably I don't know how many. There's easily 100, maybe 200 sessions.
So for those that are not familiar with Inbound, can you walk us through from Tuesday to you come home on Friday?
Yeah, late Friday.
Give us a high-level overview, and then let's dive into some of the content topics.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, it's probably what you're imagining. It's the Boston Convention Center, and they take the whole thing over. There's 2 or 3 floors and multiple wings. They take outside. They have food trucks that come. They do it up really nicely, and there's a main stage that fits almost everybody. I'd say it'd be hard not to fit everyone there, and that one's easy. That one's easy to get into. But then the other sessions are either VIP level access or you have to reserve in advance through this app they have, which is better this year than last year. But basically, you kind of schedule your days, and then you go hit these topics that you want. Like, I've already filled my agenda up, and so has Taylor. And
you guys are kind of dividing and conquering, right?
Well, what we decided to do is do whichever one's made the most sense for each of us. And there's a few I think she's definitely doing that I'm not. But we may not get into everything. So that's why we kind of overlap a lot of stuff. So there may be cases where we had 2 that were booked at the same time. Okay. I go to one, she goes to the other. Or she doesn't get into hers and comes back over to mine. So it just kind of depends in the moment.
Gotcha.
It's organized, and then all of a sudden less organized once you kind of get there sometimes.
And it's like you're go from 8 in the morning on Wednesday until, I mean, you've got lunches and dinners.
Yeah. They start at usually about 8 o'clock, 8:30 is the first kind of kickoff each morning, and it runs till about 5 every day. And it's through lunch. I mean, the session's running through lunch. You grab something, run in to eat as you're kind of hitting the session.
You've got food trucks and options nearby.
Yeah, and then I'll see Kyle there and get to hang out and see him in person, which is always great. They try to have kind of anchor speakers. Last year it was Viola Davis, Jane Goodall, and then Barack Obama was the finale. And
they had people too, like the HubSpot CEO. And
100%.
So you have big, high level, cool.
They're kind of inspirational. Yeah, and they're good speakers, and the topics are always good. I mean, they cover everything from like deep, hardcore programming for their platform all the way up to just kind of concepts and trends, which is a lot of the ones I hit last year were concepts and trends, and probably about half this year will be that way too. And then
on the flip of it is more in the weeds in the sense
of the platform, how you're at, the nuts and bolts of things that are going on and changes coming to the platform, which they've got some big ones.
So walk us through kind of your 2 or 3, what you're most excited for sessions, and then also what you've just alluded to, and there's a big change coming to HubSpot.
Yeah, that's what they're telling us. So most of the topics that I try to attend this year, AI is going to be a big one, and there's a ton of AI involved sessions. So I expect those are going to fill up pretty quickly. That's the thing that's the most new, right, this year. But how you use AI to generate content ideas, how AI is starting to integrate with HubSpot, and how they're leveraging it inside their platform. There's a lot of AI, so we're going to be doing some AI stuff. There's half a dozen, maybe a dozen B2B specific.
Awesome.
Where they really focus in on how B2Bs are leveraging CRMs and HubSpot and content and emailing and video and all that stuff, but from a B2B perspective, very specifically.
And on that note, very important in the sense of B2B sales cycles usually are longer. Yeah. So sure, there's some that are within a couple of days or a couple of weeks, but there's some that are 6 months to 18 months or longer.
Yeah, and some of those sessions are called meetups, and on a meetup, it's kind of what it sounds like. It's folks that have a similar background or business model or whatever get together and kind of compare notes.
That's awesome.
So I only did a couple of those last year, but I'll probably do a few more this year. They're actually one of the better. They're not sessions, but they're one of the better ways to spend your
that's
time,
cool.
time
I
love
there.
That. So we have some B2B, we have some AI, and then a lot of the other stuff that Taylor, I know Taylor's going to be doing is kind of content related around, email subject lines that work. And, if your video, there's one in particular I'm kind of anxious for because we talk a lot about video being a very strong medium.
Of course.
And it is. But this one's when your video is not working, what's going wrong, which I suspect is going to have to do with like how you're producing it, but I don't know, right? So they do these things that kind of get you interested. So there's going to be some content, some AI, some B2B, and I'm forgetting some stuff in there. Like I said, you really pack it up. Like basically the day they opened it up, which was about a week or 2 ago, in the app, which somehow didn't crash. Everybody goes in and just starts booking.
Tens of thousands of people. And then walk us through this kind of new announcement of what you're about to learn about.
So every year, Hub Inbound folk, and this will be my second one, so don't make it sound like I've been going for 10 years.
You're a veteran.
Every year. Last year, it was the marketing hub. And the way, if you're not familiar with HubSpot or their platform, they basically break down into, they call them hubs that operate around different areas. So there's a marketing hub where you do things like you can create social media, email, forums. That's my most comfortable hub, the one we use the most. There's one for support. So if you have like a support inbox or a chat on your website or want to connect Facebook Messenger to it, it's a single place where your team can go to interact with folks that need support, because support is a sales opportunity.
Of course.
So
always
there's a hub for that. There's a hub for automations, which is kind of worked with everything, but like that's really the secret sauce and how things kind of move through the platform. And then there's a sales hub, and the sales hub, which is actually the one I'm going to admit it's probably the weakest hub for me. So I'm anxious, is the one that they're focusing on this year. Last year was marketing, this year's sales hub. And for folks that are familiar with like Salesforce or any of those other non-HubSpot ones, those are mostly, the sales hub is their version of that. I'm not allowed to talk until we get back from it.
Are you under NDA right now?
Kyle will murder me if I say too much, I think. But there's some changes coming to the sales hub. I'll just say that.
But there's a huge marketing opportunity.
Oh Lord, yes.
It's really cool. I know you kind of talked about it yesterday with Mike, and
we have clients that are actively using the sales hub.
Of course,
Free Waves in there, Grasshoppers in there, and I'm anxious to see how these changes will roll out.
Well, and I think when you're back the week after next, we really dive into that topic.
Yeah.
Here's a cool thing. So we do not have a podcast next week. Roop, I really wanted him to take the equipment.
The equipment's gotten so much better than it used to be.
So we got cameras and lights everywhere. So we're going to let him enjoy Boston. We are no podcast next week, but the week after next, Taylor Bartley and you and myself, I will do kind of an interview style.
Ask us questions, sure.
Takeaways, learnings, new things. What are we doing?
I still have my notes from last year. I took probably 7 pages of notes in my phone, which I didn't realize. Here's the other thing. Last year, I didn't know what to expect. So I just kind of walked in with my phone in my pocket. People take their laptops, which is way easier to take notes. So I'll have better notes this year.
Good.
But yeah, we'll have a whole breakdown of what we learned and what the kind of highlights were. And I can probably at that point speak about the changes that are happening with the sales hub.
1,000%.
Yeah.
So that's kind of your tease, your sneak peek. We are off next week. In the meantime, we hope you guys have a fabulous Labor Day weekend. I know some clients of ours that are going to take Friday off and spend time with your family. It is back to school time, and as soon as we get back next week, it is a mad dash to Christmas. There's media planning, just like we talked about last week. We've got all things HubSpot, and it's a grind time. It's my favorite time of year, though. I love it. I'm ready. I'm so ready.
Yeah, it's about to get real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a really good way.
In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way. So you guys have a fabulous Labor Day. You travel safe, my friend.
Thank you.
And we will see you the week after next, and we'll be back live on the podcast then.
We will. Say bye, Chelsea.
Okay. Chels?
Bye.
We'll see you in 3 months.
At least.
At least. I want to be Chelsea Clement when I grow up. Must be nice.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Brenda, take it away. Thank you all.
And that's a wrap. We hope you've enjoyed our little chat and found ways to grow your own marketing strategies. Remember to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and follow us on social media @Littlefield Agency.